we're starting to do some onboarding stuff also, just for new people in Web3. So I wanted to learn, best practices in like introducing people to Web3. And also, I'm interested in token engineering because I love like regenerative finance, and I have some ideas for a like sustainability based economic system, like a token system. Um, so hoping to get some ideas and develop something.
Thank you, Peyton. I hope that too. And I will pass it on to Elias. Yuri, would you like to introduce? We already talked a little bit before the call because I entered to this channel 20 minutes earlier, and we talked a little bit. But would you like to present to the rest of the people here present a little bit about your intention and expectation?
Yeah. So, hello everybody. I'm Elias from Morocco. I joined here to learn more about engineering tokens. So nice to be here. I have an engineering background. I work for a project in Cardano blockchain. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And how about your boy?
So, yeah, okay.
Hi. Yeah, my intentions and expectations for this meeting. I think my intentions are just to listen and learn, to not just learn about Web3, but how to use and how to interact in Web3. I'm very interested in making the big leap, I think. My expectations, I don't know. I didn't come in with I tried to come in with no expectations to this. I just want to feel. I don't know how the collaborative nature of the work here. I don't know how exactly to describe it. I just want to get to know how things get done here.
Nice. And welcome. And then I will pass it on to members of our community. Shui, would you like to introduce yourself to the rest of the call?
Yes, of course. My name is Shui. I'm the steward for TEC Communications. And we work mostly in helping spread the message about token engineering as an emerging discipline. And should I tell what we're doing a little bit later on? I don't want to interrupt the dynamic. Sorry. If you are creative, or I see some familiar faces here today, so come close to the communications working group. We've been having a lot of fun with the project. So should I pass it back to you, Edo?
Yes, thank you, Shui. And I will pass it on to Tam. Welcome, Tam.
Thanks. Hi. I'm Tamara. I'm the steward for the Stewards working group. And there are currently 12 stewards, and there were 11 working groups, but now there's 12 with the new reward system working group. And although there is a steward in every working group, you don't have to be a steward to lead a working group. And essentially, maybe we'll talk about it a little bit later, but it is mainly around sort of coordination and trying to promote our mission, vision, values in our community and elsewhere. And I'll pass back to Eduardo.
Thank you. And how about Monoma? Would you like to talk about your intentions and expectation for this call? Monoma, if you are talking, you are muted at the moment, so we cannot listen to you. So in the meantime, I will pass it on to Nate.
Hi, yes, I'm Nate. I'm a steward. I am one of the stewards that Tam talked about that it's not dedicated to a working group. I support several different working groups in different capacities. So don't have to have your own working group. But my intentions and expectations for this call, my intentions are to provide any information about the TEC to help you better understand it. My expectations are that you leave this call with additional knowledge about the TEC and how to operate within it. So pass it back to you, Edu. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. And one last try, Monoma. Do you work out your mic? If not, it's okay. You can stay, of course, in the call and participate and mute whenever you feel comfortable. Oh, yes, Ekene. I forgot about you. Sorry. Would you like to share the rest of the call, your intention for this call and what you work on?
Hi everyone, my name is Ekene. I'm supporting Common Stack on communications. My intentions for this call is to understand the workings of TEC better and how I can also support TEC comms. Back to you now, Eduardo.
Thank you, Ekene. And of course, welcome to the call. Welcome, Aussie Crow. Nice to see you here. And we will start with the main part of the TEC. What is the TEC? It's a little bit confusing sometimes because a lot of people join the server and not very clear what we do, what are the objectives, what exactly are we doing here. So the idea is that we start from the beginning and explain a little bit about our mission, our vision, and our values, which are a key part of our community. And as every call, I will hope that Nate can explain a little bit of our vision, mission, and values. And in their own words, what do you think about it, Nate?
All right, so let me give this a shot. Every time we do this, it comes out a little bit differently, so I like that. So the mission of the Token Engineering Commons is to generally advance the field of token engineering as a field of study. And to be a Schelling point for all the token engineering projects that exist that are propelling these, token engineering public goods and creating these public goods and putting them out into the world as open source infrastructure. And so the idea is that the TEC is going to be the Schelling point, the place where everybody gathers to talk about these different components of token engineering and public goods and share with each other. The vision of it is to create sustainable and ethical design microeconomies. These tokenized economies that we're creating, they need to go through a rigorous process, and our vision is to hopefully inform those designs so these token economies can represent the people that they're impacting. And our values are, of course, pro-social, human-centered perspective. Our cultural build is a huge component of that, making sure that all communities are addressing the needs of each individual and making sure that, the communities are owned by those individuals. So I hope that was okay. Comes out different every time. Love it. I'll pass it back to you, Edu.
Don't you worry. That's the idea. Yeah, and welcome to the call. Don't mess with one. You are welcome to, a little bit after we finish this presentation, to introduce yourself. And Ham, would you like to explain a little bit of how we choose these mission values, and why the cultural practice is so key?
Yeah, sure. I love that, when we get put on the spot to say the mission, vision, and value in our own words, I can totally relate to Nate. It comes out different every time. But it's always the same meaning. It's just a different facet or a different perspective. So the way we chose our mission, vision, and values is the way we make decisions in the TEC. It's through the entire community's collaborative efforts. So we had a number of different sessions where we worked on ideas around mission and vision and values. Originally, in the very, very, very beginning, there was this big whiteboard that the SoftGov group put together to try to generate a brainstorming session around the kind of culture that that the TEC would have. And so that turned into another session around a number of different proposals for what the mission, vision, and values should be. And these proposals were then sort of submitted, and they were voted on with token holders. And then the token holders, the top 5 were then basically put to another vote, to sort of run off of a vote. maybe it was the top 3. Top 3 to 5 were put for a runoff vote, and then the community together decided what the final mission, vision, and value for our community would be. So the central point there is that it's a very collaborative effort, and it's the same way that we've decided the parameters for the hatch, the initial DAO, and the same way that we're going to decide the parameters for the commons upgrade, which is really the economic part of the DAO. The economic and governance, it's like the commons of the TEC. And I'll pass back to Eduardo.
Thank you for you. And yeah, that we sort of across these values through, if I'm not wrong, 12 work groups at the moment. So this is how we sort of aim for this. And I start this by passing to Chewy to explain a little bit about his working group, which is communication working group. Would you like to take a chance at that, Chewy?
Yes, I do. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted with some stuff. I'll try to be with this. In communications, right now, as we are transitioning to become like our own DAO and being able to have like our own funds, we are making a proposal on this concept of teams, of different units created that support token engineering communications and to provide services, communication services to other token engineering related projects. So right now we've been working really hard on structuring our first 5 teams, and the categories that are going to be covered by this is supporting communications for Token Engineering Academy. We also have translations. We have Twitter planning, we have HubSpot, and we also have animation and video production. So it's coming together pretty well. I'm super happy. Yesterday we got an amazing communications call. It really brought like a lot of like spirit to the people that are gathering around this project. So yeah, basically we want to be, let's say, like a decentralized app agency for token engineering projects. So this is what we want to support, and it's working out pretty well so far. So if you are creative or have any kind of experience in ad agencies, graphic design, animation, copywriting, shoot us a DM, and there's a lot of stuff that you can contribute with. So yeah, this is
Thank you, Sri. And
right
when are your calls? When people can join your calls and know more about comms?
Communications call is on Tuesdays. That's like a general sync call. And starting next week, I think we're gonna have we're gonna start with syncs for every team. So if you are interested in animation and video production, or you're interested in contributing with Twitter planning, go to the communications text channel, and you are gonna find some threads there. So join the thread of the team you're interested in contributing with, and we're gonna be posting news pretty soon about when to have these syncs. So if you're interested in contributing to communications, those 2 calls are gonna be important in the near future. And because of transparency, which we're gonna talk a little bit more about later on, but every call is recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so it's easier. Like if you miss one of these calls, no worries. You can always like go to YouTube and catch up with it and see what you missed, and be able to coordinate in a flexible way with the rest of the contributors and teams.
Thank you, Shui. And what Shui just mentioned is very important for us. All of our calls are open. You can hop in at any moment. And at the top of every working group channel, there is the agenda for that working group. So you can actually like get into the loop of what they are talking about that week or what was talked last week. And the second part is that all of our calls goes to YouTube. So you can actually So that if you were not able to hop into the call, you can go back and see what it was talked about, and you can get a vibe of what the working group work looks like. Because sometimes the agenda, gets short in the content of what was expressed, or you want to know how is this steward handling their call. You can just hop into the call recording in YouTube, TEC comments if you YouTube it, and you will find there a lot of information and the vibe from that working group. And maybe you will find something you would like to work on. And related to how we work on, then we have the stewards, which is sort of our project management kind of place. And I will pass it on to Tam to talk about if you wanted to contribute, if you want to sort of know a little bit about how we organize ourselves, what they can do.
Yeah, so the stewards came about because the TEC had a number of different working groups, and these working groups were very focused on the subject that they were delivering in order for the TEC to be successful. And what was missing was sort of this transversal group where coordination and strategic planning could happen. So Stewards Working Group was born out of the need to sort of have a high-level visibility across what other working groups are doing instead of just one working group sort of very siloed and apart from the others. And it's where the people who are quite active in the community often hop into the call, or the stewards who are also very active in the community and sort of share the priorities that they might have in their working group, any blockers to their work. We problem solve together key issues for the TEC community or for the TEC DAO. Talk about expectations of timelines and things that are happening in each of the working groups, so everyone can be aware of interdependencies between all of the different working groups. We also support each other. It's a little bit like a support group too, and really spend a lot of time caring about how to grow the TEC and how to grow and care for our community together. We have weekly calls. We also have events, Scrum events. We sort of follow this methodology. So we have sprint planning. We have a sprint retrospective where we go back and look at, hey, in this last 2-week period, what did we really do well? Like, what were the successes that we can celebrate? And what didn't go so well? What do we need to fix? So we're constantly in a cycle of being very introspective and adapting to our changing environment, our changing needs, or our changing dynamics within our community. And then every Thursday is basically our sprint review, but it's our community call where we show the work that's been done, and we do that on a weekly basis. Like Eduardo said, the calls are open, so even though it's the Stewards Working Group, it's just as open as all of the other calls for people to hop on and participate with us as well. I hope that was a good enough explanation.
It was very good. Thank you, Kat. And Monoma, he is having troubles with his internet, but they ask about a smart contract development. To which working group they could learn about smart contract development. So we have the Commons Forum working group and the Parameters working group for that. Nate, would you like to explain a little bit about these two working groups if you are able to?
Sure. So the Commons Forum Development Group is a collaboration group with OneHive that does the tech specs for all of the deployments for the Token Engineering Commons.
And Common Stack.
And Common Stack, yes. And thank you. So if you're interested in that aspect of getting really deep into the actual smart contracts and the development and deployment of those contracts, Commons Forum is a great working group for that. The Parameters working group is temporary. I don't know if we'll hold on to it for very long after the Commons upgrade. It was designed for collectively designing our economy. And so the idea was that we would inform people on the parameters that go into developing a bonding curve, to developing our conviction voting modules, to developing our DAO structure. And so the Parameter Working Group is a really interesting working group to just learn more about the different components of these smart contracts and what goes into them, and how we collectively educate and design this as a community. So those are both, if you're technically oriented, these are the two working groups that it'd be worth looking into, as well as TEC Labs. So I'll pass it back to you.
There you go. That was a very good explanation. Yes, if you are technical oriented or if you are educational focus or you want to learn, you can assist to these calls. We also have programs parties going on at the moment, and you can just join them, learn about token economics, and propose your own set of parameters. If you want to learn about what a parameter is, now why do they have to integrate with themselves, and how it reflects on the economy that we are building. So you're more than welcome to join any of these calls. It may look scary a little bit because it looks technical, but everyone there is very warm and welcome, and I'm pretty sure that they will assist you if you have any question. Besides that, of course, we have other working groups. We have legal, the name speaks by itself. We have transparency. Transparency is one of these, these working groups that doesn't get a lot of visibility, but they do a lot of hard work. They record all of our calls. They upload them to YouTube. They do audits. They make sure who has access to everything, login, password, Twitter, Discord. So we keep sort of track of the things and we keep them transparent. That's the aim of the transparency working group. Then we have Omega. If any of these calls is more interested on the ethos, the ethical part, go to the Omega calls. They also explore this more philosophical approach to token economics. Then we have Gravity, that just end the Gravity course, which is basically Gravity is this working group dedicated for conflict management and how we are human beings, even if we are very technical, even though we can be developers or programmers, we still have conflicts in the human level. So Gravity sort of tackle this and provides support and provides tools for conflict resolution. And they have a course that just end. And it's a Graviton training sessions where they are very interesting. So you can assist to Gravity and learn. They have very interesting working group calls. And of course, as the rest of the calls, they are open. And then we have labs, as Nate mentioned. The labs is experimental space where you can learn about different stuff from Solidity to data science. And just if you have a focus of interest, for example, like Elias, who is working more in the Cardano community, you can bring your models. You can bring, for example, he was explaining me before everyone joined the call that they actually use CatCat tool. And they get to know our community because they start using CatCat. So, if you want to know more about this tooling and experiment with them, go to the lab sessions. And then
I just want to throw in about the labs. There's a special series happening right now in the labs. It is a Solidity programming or introduction to Solidity programming using the Crypto Zombies series, and it's hosted by MetaVerde. I think it's on week 2. Maybe this is going to be week 3, and I think it's an 8-week series. So just to put that on everyone's radar, if that's what you're interested in learning Solidity from the beginning.
Thank you, Tam. And of course, you also have the other working group, which is very key for us, which is SoftGov. And SoftGov is a self-governance and cultural practices working group. So, for example, if you want to learn about onboarding, someone mentioned it in the introductions. This working group talks us about the cultural practices that we sort of frame the TEC and how we frame the governance, how we make decisions, and how it affects the rest of the community and how the community can empower themselves to make decisions. So this working group is for that. And for last, we have the best working group, and it's not because me and Tam are the stewards of it, it's just because it's the best. It's a community that's working group, and it's a working group dedicated for community building, onboarding, this call, orientation call. If you want to know about each other, we have the TEC Lounge, which is a safe space for everyone to connect in a human level. We don't talk about business there. We talk about what movie did you watch last week and what was your favorite song this week. So it's a more chill space that everyone is sort of welcome to participate. I want to open the floor at this moment to ask if anyone have a question regarding the working groups, or if anyone have sort of not very clear where they might or want to contribute to. So basically, the method we use, you unmute yourself, and I pass the word to you, and we keep passing until we finish the question. So I will count down to 0 to see if anyone has a question regarding the working groups. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. There you go. Then I will keep going. This slide talks a little bit about what we just described. We meet a lot on Discord, and everyone is welcome. So Then again, if you missed or not a YouTube call, a working group call, you can go to YouTube and find it there. And then we have one of our highlights of our organization, which is the praise system. And you will see a channel at your left that says praise. And after this call, you will also receive praise. But before we got into that, we will provide you context about this culture or practice that we sort of are reinforcing in the TEC. Tam, would you like to sort of debrief a little bit about what is the praise system and how important it is for our community?
Yeah, with pleasure. So praise is a way that we achieve a few different things. It was a concept that originally started, I think, in Giveth and then in Common Stack, and the TEC has adopted it as well. Some other communities are trying to implement it as well. The idea is twofold. One, to create a culture of gratitude. So to have a tangible way to express gratitude to other individuals in our community and also to receive gratitude. So if somebody does something that really helps you out, you can praise that person. And it is something that's shared publicly on the praise channel. Technically, you can praise in any of our channels, but we tend to accumulate them in the praise channel so people can go through and sort of read them and feel all of the gratitude and love that's expressed in the community. And the second purpose is to reward unseen work. So much of the work that happens in this kind of like nebulous, porous barrier communities where people are coming in and out, a lot of that work doesn't get seen by everybody. So it's a way to highlight the work that people in the community are doing so that they can be rewarded for it, because praise does eventually get quantified, qualified, and then does turn into some amount of TEC tokens that will be distributed by this reward system working group and the reward system board. So it not only creates a good ambiance in the community, people feel good when somebody appreciates the work they did and a public acknowledgement of that, but it also turns into the TEC tokens for the person that received the praise. I think I covered it. Did I miss anything, Nate?
And source of information sharing as well. I mean, it's just great to
True.
see how much, when you have so much work going on and you see the praise that's going on, it's hard to keep up with what everybody's doing, and praise is a good way to just like scroll through the praise and see what work is being accomplished and kind of catching up on the inner workings of different working groups that you may not be a part of.
Correct, and this is very valuable for us. We even have a public praise session on the community call. Everyone is welcome to the community call. We sort of share what every working group has been doing during the week. And that community call happens at 7 p.m. CET on Thursdays here on the community call. And of course, we also have a special kind of report every week that Manu, our contributor, does. And it's a weekly update of what was going on the community. On the PDF, you will have weekly updated that blog post that's in the the post on the forum. My tongue today, it's tricky. On the forum where he updates every week what's going on the TEC. It's a very nice place to sort of keep updated. If you don't have time for a YouTube call, if you don't have time for the community call, and you missed out something, you can go to that link and it will get you there. So we also have this space for contributors. If everyone here wants to contribute, which is the Zen Hub. Tam, would you like to hop in and explain a little bit about Zen Hub and how do we use it and what it works for?
Yeah, sure. So Zenhub is just a tool that's a view onto a GitHub repository, and it allows more project management capabilities than GitHub does or did natively. So we use it as a way to plan our 2 weeks of 2 weeks of work at a time for each working group. So if you go into Zenhub, you can see you can search for the sprint that we're in, and you can search for a working group, and you can see everything that that working group is working on during this 2-week sprint period. It's a way for contributors to go and find issues that perhaps pieces of work equal that they could work on, or that they want to help with, that they have some insight or expertise that can advance that piece of work. So we use it for getting things done in the TEC. And it's open, so people can create new issues if they see something that they want to work on or they think can be helpful. What we do with our Zen Hub board is you'll see the different columns, and essentially the things that are in the product backlog will sit in the product backlog until they get prioritized and pulled into a sprint, and that happens every 2 weeks in our sprint planning.
Thank you so much, Sam. And of course, if you need guidance, if you think this call was not enough, you can reach out to me and we could have a one-on-one, no problem. I can adapt to time zones too. That's on that end. So I want to give also space for Don't Mess with Juan to introduce himself, any intention that you may have, and any expectation that you may have, and where you currently work on, if you feel like sharing with the rest of the call. If you are talking, don't mess with Juan, you are muted. Oh, there you go.
Hello. I'm Steph. Thank you so much for making this call. It's been super interesting. I make music, and I'm interested in new ways of organizing relationships between labels and artists. And I'm recently part of Songcamp, a music and Web3 group. And so I guess we were looking for inspiration for organization, and yeah, it's been really great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we have two Songcamp users or Songcamp part community here. Don't Mess with Juan and Peyton, am I right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Yes.
There you go. Welcome. And how do you manage to get into this part of the niche of the Web3 space? Through Laser, through Shui, or by yourself?
I guess one of the people working on Songcamp shared this space with us. He had been looking up about tech, and that's how we came in here.
Yeah, I may have heard of y'all from the Bankless podcast before as well, but this is the first time like hopping in. So, you know, I just think it sounds like what we're working on is just designing new economies, like, which is really exciting, because I've just been thinking about the fact that we all exist in the same like global economy that we didn't really design, and it seems like this is all about designing an economy, like, or multiple economies, right?
It is. You are correct on that. And the idea is that we empower our communities and every community to sort of build their own economy. And in the case of the TEC, is example by itself. We build this economy from the scratch. And probably we will need to provide a little bit of context. Tam, would you like to explain a little bit of the history and reasoning of creating the TEC, and just to provide context to the rest of the people?
Yeah, with pleasure. So it's true that the TEC is in a moment of designing our economy, and there's a specific dashboard that was created just in order to enable everyone in the community, with whatever background you have, token engineering or yoga instructor or day school teacher or philosopher or economist or scientist, to learn about the economic parameters and how they interact with each other. I don't know if you brought up the dashboard to just sort of give it yeah, cool. Oh, thanks, Derek. So yeah, and it's sort of what we're in the process of doing right now, is using this dashboard for the TEC to develop, to set our parameters for how we want voting, how we want to allocate our funds, how we want our token price to rise and fall against this augmented bonding curve, and the parameters for the DAO itself. How we can make decisions that impact these parameters, for example, which is a different set of decision-making rules than decisions for funding different projects. But the TEC is really focused on token engineering, not so much focused on helping other communities design their economies. That's work that's being done by an organization called Common Stack. And Common Stack is the organization that has built this blueprint for the technical build, so the smart contracts, these dashboards they've built, and other elements that are like the technical work, and then the cultural build, which is really as important or more important. A good, like a well designed, well built DAO is only as strong as the culture of the people who are participating in that DAO. So the cultural build is based on the work of an economist named Elinor Ostrom, and she has a seminal work for which she won the Nobel Prize in Economy called Governing the Commons. And the Common Stack has built these two elements, this cultural build and technical build, for communities to deploy their own commons. And the token engineering community is the first community who has taken these two blueprints and are deploying a commons for our community, which is token engineers, to help support education, research, and open source tools to advance token engineering. I hope that answers the question well. Peyton?
Hey.
Yeah.
I think so. I think so. So
I would like to learn about the community.
Cool.
So the TEC you built on top of these two frameworks, and this token engineering commons is focused on developing this commons right here, right? So it's not focused as much on like bootstrapping and spinning up other economies. It's focused on like creating this economy right here.
Yeah.
And then the focus of this economy is education. Like what are the, well, I guess we've talked about the values already of this commons. What are the goals of this commons economy here? And sorry if that's been answered already.
No, it's fine. You know, token engineering is a rather nascent field, you know, but we consider it a real engineering field as much as chemical engineering or mechanical engineering or military defense engineering. And so we hope that as a new engineering field, we can create a space where we have standards and we have, you know, ethical principles that we honor and respect, and encourage other token engineers to honor and respect the same ethics and standards. I'd recommend on the TEC blog, there's a really great post by Dr. Michael Zargum about ethics in token engineering. And I definitely, I'll drop that in the community hall in a moment, but or unless somebody else can do that. But I'd say, you know, it's the idea that we will build things that are open source. So projects that are building tools to help create this Web3 space that are building open source tools would be eligible to apply for funding for their tools. Research about, you know, specific topics in token engineering that might be very conceptual, maybe very theoretical at this point, but may really help to make token engineering, Web3, this entire space stronger and better, could be eligible for funding. And, you know, educational institutions or educational projects that can help educate other people about what token engineering is and how we can encourage there to be, you know, ethical, human-focused principles that we apply when we are building things in the space. There's
I see where this is going. So I'm reminded of IEEE because I have an electrical background. So
exactly.
is that okay?
It's a good
okay,
analogy.
Yeah, this makes a lot more sense.
It's a good analogy, actually. I mean, this is where token engineers want to help build standards for this space so that we can build things uniformly and with ethics in mind.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, IEEE is International Electrical Engineers, and so they do lots of standards. Like if you look at different consumer products, there's all kinds of IEEE standards that are embedded in everything, and they publish all kinds of research. And I'm not sure if they promote open source things, but this makes a lot more sense to me now.
Cool.
Thank you, Tam.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Tam and Peyton, for asking the question. Does anyone else have, it's an open floor for questions at the moment. Does anyone else have any other question they would like to ask or a doubt that they may have?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey,
Because it's just, I'm a beginner, I'm trying to learn coding. But my main goal is to start working as a freelancer. So I'm just, wondering what are the skills that I need to learn, just to find life, good job.
I think we're all freelancers here, and so everybody has different sets of skills, and part of the ethos that the Omega Working Group has been working on is really stressing that token engineering is a multidisciplinary field of study. Whether you're in economics, whether you're in sociology, whether you're philosopher, like there are different ways you can contribute, and within DAOs, this is a really important concept to understand because your unique skill set can be applied within different working groups in different ways. So I would encourage you to explore the different working groups, see where your skill sets are, and if there are certain skill sets that you want to develop, there are people that can guide you. So.
Okay, thank you. Is it? No, I've heard that you need to learn about JavaScript before starting Solidity. Is it right or not?
I don't think that's the case. I mean, it helps for sure, but Solidity is its own programming language, and I think that you can learn one and not the other, but it does help to learn the basics of JavaScript before Solidity.
So if I have the basics of C and C++, so it is okay. I don't need JavaScript.
One thing I'd like to add to that is the Solidity as a language. I think it might be slightly similar to C++, but it's more JavaScript like. But like if you're making a full application, having some knowledge of JavaScript definitely helps so that you can interact with smart contracts. But you can use other languages to interact as well. However, as far as I know, the most developed tools exist for JavaScript, so that can be a good choice.
And just to jump in, Monoma 23, if you missed it earlier, there's a in the TEC Labs, there's an Introduction to Solidity course that's taking place right now. I think this is going to be week 2 or week 3, so it's probably a great week to jump in and join the class. They're following the Crypto Zombies coursework.
Okay, guys, thank you.
No problem. And TEC Labs meets on Fridays, and you could find it on the TEC calendar.
Where can I find go?
On the TEC calendar? Go ahead, Edu.
It's okay. On your left, there is a menu that says "Start Here" at the top of our Discord, and you will see a channel called Calendars, and then you can add the Google Calendar to yours. So you will see the TC Lab that happens on Friday, 6 p.m., 5 p.m. if I'm not wrong. You can find it there on 5 p.m. CET. You can find it there on the calendar and add it to, and see the rest of the calls too.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your help. Thank you.
You're welcome, no problem. And Derek Barrera, would you like to briefly introduce yourself to the community and something you would like to share about yourself?
Sure. Hey guys. My name is Derek Burr. I'm the founder of Steer Finance, founder of Ballmex.finance, and CTO of a company called Proof of Impact. So 2 blockchain companies and 1 big data company in the impact space. And I'm currently going through tokenomics for Steer Finance, which is an off-chain keeper network. And we're trying to figure out the optimal tokenomics for the DAO and all that kind of stuff. And I was referred here to somebody named Hannah that works for us and has, I guess, maybe participated within your guys' working groups before. And I'm just trying to figure out everything and how everything's organized. You guys are extremely organized place and extremely smart from what I'm seeing. So this is a great resource of information to be able to chew through. I'm not really too sure where to go next from here, but I'm just kind of learning and trying to find my way at this point. I don't know if you guys have any advice in that area.
Sure, Derek. Would you like to share what's probably the main point of attention for you right now? What is your main kind of interest or something you would like to dive in, or problem that you would like to solve in your organizations?
Yeah, sure. So right now it's pure tokenomics. Basically, out of the community pool, how much should be allocated? At what time should the vesting be? Should we have a reward program and stuff like that? There's a lot of decisions that we need to make, and we'd rather be data-driven versus non-data driven because that just means you're just making random decisions. And so, luckily, when I came here, you guys seem to be extremely data-driven, which is awesome to see. But really trying to understand those dynamics, how token emissions impact price, and all that kind of tokenomics.
I have a few things that could be super interesting for you, actually. The first is you might be interested in participating in some of the rewards sessions. It's a group that really focuses on building rewards system, and it's really entirely data driven. And then I would say attending the parameter debates. A lot of these questions get brought up. It wouldn't be specific for your use case, but it would maybe give you some areas to concentrate your thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. No, that's really great. Thank you so much. And do each of these, just out of curiosity, do each of these working groups have weekly meetings, or they have kind of like some schedule that they already abide by?
Correct. If you go to our Discord, and you go to the calendar section below Start Here section, there's a channel called Calendar. You will see a link to our Google Calendar, where if you click on it, you will see all the calls that are open to everyone. You can hop in at any moment. You don't have to hop in on top of the hour. You can hop in at the middle, at the beginning. And then there is an agenda also shared usually on the date of the calendar. So you can click on that and see what they are talking about. And regarding the params debate and party that I mentioned, we have, for example, 3 tomorrow, 1 a.m. EST, 1 p.m. EST, and 3 p.m. EST. And we have those 3 sessions, for example, tomorrow, in case you want to hop in and sort of understand how this economy and everyone propose their own set of parameters and how it affects their economy and the proposal to our economy, and how it affects our economy and so on. So you can hop in also to any of these 3 debates and parties that are tomorrow. And if you need any other guidance regarding the working group's agenda, you can also send me a message and we can guide you through it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This is great information, guys, and I'm really glad to be part of the community.
You are welcome. We're happy to have you here. And I have one last question, and this is for Keaton. You mentioned you want to learn more about onboarding. Do you have any specific question regarding onboarding or any struggle that you're having right now? Just by reference, we recommend you can join the Communitas working group call, where we tackle the onboarding situation and how we are sort of solving this task that it's across the DAO communities. So I don't know if you have any specific question regarding onboarding.
Oh, thanks so much. Well, so the way, first of all, I'm really enjoying this, and I love how organized this server is and the working groups. I think it's really awesome, and we could probably apply some of this at Song Camp. And so at Song Camp, we do songwriting camps. Is kind of our structure, and we end up creating NFTs and stuff like that. And we're about to have Camp 3 starting in January, which is going to be the first time we're delving into actual development, like with Solidity and smart contracts. And so personally, I'm pretty interested in labs and just like learning coding with a group of people. That sounds really exciting and fun. And so I think the goal with Song Camp, we came up with this idea, myself and Steph, we came up with this thing, we call it Camp Counselors. So it's going to be like sort of a one-on-one mentorship program, because Song Camp doesn't directly have an intention to onboard people into Web3 per se. We're more about just being like a music and Web3 laboratory, and we kind of expect people to have some experience with Web3. But you know, Steph mentioned like, hey, mentorship, that would be a fantastic thing for us to do, and maybe this is a way that we can onboard people on the side. So I'm going to be hosting like an onboarding call next Tuesday, just trying to like answer everyone's Web3 questions. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of basic stuff like how do I set up a wallet and how do I mint my first NFT and stuff like that. And then I think from there, we'd like to set up mentoring relationships. Like I would be a counselor and other people could decide to be counselors. So I think we want to compile good resources for people to get started, good resources that answer the why, like why even get involved in Web3. And from my experience in these things, I want to create a video course that I'm going to sell myself, which is just a very basic why get into Web3, why get into crypto, and how do you just get started. And that would be aimed at people that have probably just only heard of Bitcoin, and they just yeah. And mainly I want to answer the why. So
Well, just as a quick advice, get the documentation ready and have it accessible to people, which is the key thing for us, is to have documentation, and then of course the language of the documentation, sort of the more broader and accessible possible. We are on the top of the hour. Thank you so much to everyone who joined to this call. Thank you for sharing your time, your experience, and your project with us. We look forward to see you around. And if you have any question that was skipped during this call, or any suggestion or any feedback, please message me, Tam, or any of our channels of help. Feedback are open to you. So take care, everyone, and see you around.
Thanks, Eduardo. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot. See you.
Bye.
Bye.